All right, we've been looking at the situation at SABC News. Today, retrenchment letters started being issued. Well, that has been in the pipeline, but workers saying they received those letters. Later, a meeting, the Chief Operations Officer addressing staff, a lot of anger, a lot of questions, a lot of uncertainty expressed by staff members. The GE, the Group Executive of News, Phathiswa Magopeni, then addressed staff members, said their anger and uncertainty was understandable under the circumstances, and she also then said that she could not issue redundancy letters under the circumstances, saying, even apologizing to the group exec of HR, saying she could not do it, and that was received with applause by the newsroom, but it's really unclear where the retrenchment process is now. Let's chat to one of the union's president of BEMAWU, Buisson, joining us. Mr. Buisson, what do you understand about what went down at the SABC today?
Well, I think that this is exactly what we thought was going to happen at some point in time. Because there was not a proper consultation process, staff felt that they have not been given a proper opportunity, and in the haphazard way that the SABC has instructed staff and us to make submissions to them, that did not do service to the consultation process. And this is exactly what was the end of that, where staff that's been working there for 39, 40 years are now confronted by, and they could not understand how is it possible that the SABC can cut down the newsroom, which is the main function of the SABC. It's the flagship of the SABC. How can the SABC cut down that newsroom to the extent that they wanted to do so? So our understanding is there was also an admission. I was for some time part of that meeting virtually. So my understanding was that there was an admission that there was not proper consultation, and this is what we have exactly said from the beginning, that there was not proper consultation, and for the SABC COO to then throw it to the side of the unions to say that we instructed the SABC not to present those structures, that's simply not true. The SABC presented those structures. We asked them, are you consulting outside the consultation process, which was unlawful? We suggested that if the SABC wanted to continue with that, to withdraw the Section 189 letters, to then engage staff in those meetings, and only after they then have done so, to then start a Section 189 process if there was it was necessary to do so. And that was all rejected in that meeting.
Please clarify this so I really don't get the wrong end of the stick here. You are saying as unions, you were actually concerned if there was going to be, if the SABC was consulting with its own staff members about the structure while it was consulting with you as unions. Is that correct?
Look, when you enter into a Section 189 process, the law is clear on who you must consult. So you cannot then consult outside that process. So the agreement was, if you are going to consult in the process, in the Section 189 process, and that has been said many times during those meetings, the SABC will present its rationale and the structures. Once they've finished with that presentation of their structure, we will then go back to staff. We will then relay those structures and the presentations to staff, get the input, then go back to the SABC, consult with them, and then by so having every staff member's input in that structure. And if it was necessary during our involvement in that process, to then involve the necessary people in that consultation process, then that would have been done at that point in time.
Is this the letter of the law? Was there any way to get around this? And the reason I ask is that many SABC staffers feel like they haven't been consulted about the structure. You are now saying that legally the unions were the go-between between the SABC and the workers. So therefore, do you take responsibility for not really passing on the correct information so that staff members at the SABC felt like they understood the structure and were part of the decision-making process?
No, remember what happened. At the end of the SABC's presentation on the 16th of October 2020, when the SABC presented their last structure, it was now our turn to take those structures back to members. The SABC COO went on record to say, by the end of this meeting, the consultation process will stop. Before we could take the structures back to members and then get their input in those structures, the SABC abandoned the Section 189 process. This is what we are complaining now in the Labour Court about, is the fact that the COO said, we will not consult any further with the unions and with the non-unionized employees. Yeah. And there were two people
so you can take that to staff members earlier, so that they had a chance to give their input before it was finalized according to the COO.
No, we can't, because those structures were only presented on those 2 days, on the 16th, and I think 2 days before that, those structures were presented. We did circulate the structures to all of the staff members, and we requested input for that, but that is not the way to consult on those particular issues and on those important issues, which are the structures. So we have done everything according to the book and what was required of us. It is the SABC who terminated that consultation process. After they presented their structures on the 16th, they said no further consultations. We will give you an opportunity to go and ask for input from your members, which we have done. We circulated the structures. We said, please give your input on those structures.
All right, two quick questions because we're running out of time. So firstly, do you believe that you've done your job? Because I see a lot of SABC workers with a lot of questions about the structure, about how this all works, about their future. You were privy to all those previous negotiations that staff members were not involved in as a union. Have you passed on the right knowledge? Have you empowered your members as a union?
Look, there was no negotiations. It was a consultation process. In that 1 week, the SABC presented on the Tuesday, and then on the Friday they presented the structures. The new structure was presented in
forget the structure. I'm just saying generally. Have you informed members about their rights, about how retrenchment processes work, about their options? Because a lot of people are feeling like they really don't understand what's going on.
Yeah, we have sent out several communications in that respect, and we've also posted on our website an entire information piece of retrenchments and how it works and all of that. So yes, we think that we have done what we're supposed to do. I don't think that we have done anything wrong. We dragged our feet, we delayed the process, nothing of that. We were ready to consult, we were ready to engage the SABC. We were not given that opportunity.
All right, Mr. Buisson, where do you think the process now stands, given what Phathiswa Magopeni said today, that she can't continue handing out letters, and she, of course, is the head of the newsroom?
Well, it's clear that that is an admission that there was not proper consultation. I believe that was also confirmed by some of the people that of management that attended that particular
I don't want to say
meeting.
what she admitted to or not. Those are the words she used. She said, I cannot continue with this. So where does that leave the retrenchment process? Do you think that was her expressing her personal opinion? What happens now? How will you seek clarity?
Well, I don't think that she was expressing a personal opinion. She's employed as the group executive, and we want to commend her for that brave stance that she took, because she realized at the time when she was confronted in the newsroom that there are serious problems. The suggestions that has been made by the SABC in terms of the structure is not doable, and so in terms of the process, we think that we must go back to the table as we've requested, and there should be a proper consultation meeting where staff members can give their input as we have asked from the beginning, and it was agreed by the SABC. It will happen in that way, and we think that is the way forward on how it should happen.
All right, thank you very much, BEMAWU President Buisson.